Hola, ¿cómo estás? Me llamo TJ, your friendly neighborhood ninja here on CarnivalSpirits. And today is 9/11/2013. It's the 12th year anniversary of the terrorist attacks on the Twin Towers. I wanted to talk about 9/11 a few months ago when the Boston Marathon bombings happened, because that event actually triggered a lot of memories for me in my experience. Now, I did make these videos, I just never shared them. I was kind of emotional, and I bared a lot of my raw feelings about this shit, and I think it was cathartic enough where I didn't even need to share it. But since it is the anniversary of just so many lives lost, and our whole nation really changed after that day, I thought it would be worth it, for whatever it's worth, to share my story. It's not like it's not that great of a story, but it's my story. So, you know, in 2001, I was an intern in college at a graphic design firm on Copley Street in Boston. So I was living in Salem at the time, and I would walk a couple miles to the Salem train station, take the train down to North Station, and then grab the Green Line to Copley. And on my very first day of my internship, it was, you know, I mean, that's something that's mandatory if you're in college. At least for me, I needed to, you know, accomplish 3 internships before I could get my degree. 2 of them were only 140 hours, and one of them had to be a whole semester-long internship. This was my second 140-hour internship, so it was for only a couple of months. And so on my first day, you know, I go in there, and I get a feel for it. Shit was pretty cool, and I come back home, I go to bed, and for some reason, on September 10th, 2001, when I was trying to go to sleep, I couldn't. I tossed, I turned, I was disturbed. There was something wrong, and I didn't know what it was. Normally, when, you know, for like the first day of school or the first day of a new job, like, you can have anxiety, and that anxiety can keep you awake at night. And I thought that maybe that's what it was, except I had just had my first day of my internship, and that anxiety should have been gone. So for some reason, after my first day, I had hella anxiety at night. I woke up the next day, and I was fucking late for work for my internship. I was bugging out. I rushed. I fucking booked it to the Salem train station, and something was wrong. I don't know what the fuck was wrong, but people had a weird sense about them. I heard some chatter. I'm sitting on the train, all right, the commuter rail, on my way to North Station, and I called up my internship, and I said, and I lied to them, because I didn't want to say, hey, I overslept. You know, I told them, I pulled this out of thin air. I said, listen, I'm sorry I'm late, but the train station in Boston was chaotic, and it took me a while, but I'll be there soon. All right, they bought my lie. But here's the thing, when I finally got to North Station, it was fucking chaotic, and people were fucking rushing out of the city, and I didn't know what the fuck was going on, but my story was true, and I didn't even know it. So finally, I got to Copley, and I still don't know what the fuck is going on, but my story was pretty believable because it wasn't false. Like, people were fucking trying to rush out of the city. People were upset. It was obvious. I wasn't in the know. So I'm sitting down, and they got my internship was like, it was in a home office. It was a couple, husband, wife, working out of their home, doing graphic design. And I would sit down at one of their desks, and they had fucking cats, and I'm allergic to cats, and that was the worst part of that fucking internship, was having to take allergy medicine just to not have a fucking severe attack, so I can get my fucking college credits. The shit we do, you know, for a fucking piece of paper. Anyways, It wasn't long before I sat down before my boss got an email saying turn on the fucking news. We did, and they had this wall mount flat screen television. This is like the first time I've ever seen a flat screen wall mount TV. Back in 2001, I had never seen one with my own eyes before, and they turned this bitch on, and we watched the footage of the tower, the first tower falling, and then I saw the second tower fall live, and I mean, a couple of phone calls later with my folks, I was on my way back to my hometown to spend the day with my family. I was given the day off, and it all made sense because I'm just saying it all made sense why everybody was fucking trying to get out of the city, because if you guys didn't know, obviously you know, the plane that hit the tower left from Logan Airport, which is from Boston, and here's the thing that a lot of people forget is that, you know, the city of Boston was in lockdown, and they thought that some of the terrorists that, you know, were involved with the attack were still in Boston. And so before I was able to get out of the city, we had tons of police, SWAT cars, you know, fucking dogs, sniffing dogs, and there was just a lot of activity right outside my fucking window from the internship, because the Copley Hotel was right around the corner, and that's where they thought some terrorists were staying. So they didn't know if there were more terrorists in the Logan Airport. And I actually have a really in-depth journal entry where I pretty much talk about all this stuff, and I've actually tried looking for it a couple of years ago. I don't know where the fuck it is. I'm a pack rat, and I got my shit everywhere. And, you know, I do have old spiral notebooks and folders from, you know, years past, and, you know, essays from school and various assignments and packets, and I do have my old journal somewhere. I always thought it would be cool to pull those out and read them for you guys sometime. But anyways, I'm just off the cuff remembering the stress of 9/11, the worries of, you know, did any friends or family get hurt? You know, did we know anyone that was in the towers, family members, and, you know, the rest is history. You know what I'm saying? The way that our country is, and the way that people's mentality is, and, you know, stereotypes, and, you know, fear-mongering, and, you know, police state, and, you know, world politics, and, you know, wars. There's just so much bullshit in this world, and 9/11 was such a wake-up call for whatever the fuck we're supposed to be awake to. It's just that, you know, with the internet right now, we live in this global community, and I don't think I was very interested or aware of foreign policies and government and, you know, politicians. Like, I had no interest in that shit. Never paid attention to it. Very rarely gave a fuck what the hell is going on with military and, you know, Congress and legislation, and there's just so many things to care about in this world, and that wasn't for me. But I remember 9/11 very well, and I remember that sense of just that sense of the whole country starting to grab hold of little American flags and be patriotic, and, you know, showing support, showing positive optimism instead of, you know, oh, we're all gonna die. We gotta be afraid of the terrorists. You know, so there was definitely a response to the terror, and there was also a lot of confusion. I mean, just so many things have come to light since then, and, you know, attacking or responding to the attacks by Taliban, and just the whole concept of jihad, and, you know, Osama bin Laden, fucking Saddam Hussein. A lot of younger kids, you know, probably don't have memories of the Gulf War. And I do, because I was in elementary school, and I remember a reporter came to my elementary school. I think I was in 5th grade, and they interviewed my fifth grade English class on what we thought about the Gulf War. And I remember I was quoted, a bunch of my friends were quoted. You know, we got our names in the newspaper. There was a picture of all of us, and you know, that was just kind of like a cheap thrill to see your name and picture in the newspaper. That had happened to me before for you know, getting scores and assists in soccer, you know, in the sports page. when your sports team does well, and it's like, you know, they always give credit to the scorers, and I had also got some publicity from my artwork as a kid, and so I used to keep my my newspaper clippings, and you know, I've got a nice little folder of just memories, you know, and but 9/11 is a memory that, you know, I don't have anything tangible to comfort me. All I have is my family, you know, and I guess I could share this something about my old man. My father was born and raised in Brooklyn, and his parents are passed away now, but they lived in Brooklyn their whole lives. So actually, they you know, came to America from Norway and lived in Brooklyn. Brooklyn used to be a heavy Scandinavian suburb, or you know, area in New York. It kind of got taken over by Asians, and you know, a lot of Norwegian restaurants are now Chinese food restaurants and whatnot. But my camera's moving. So my father is a psychologist, and he also is a reverend, and he works at a hospital, and he felt a calling, he felt a need to help out at Ground Zero, and so my father went down to Ground Zero to help out with the Red Cross and with the first responders, and also the family members that were coming in droves to identify, you know, victims and survivors. And it's funny because it's not funny, but it's interesting that at the time, in the weeks after 9/11, they started to tell people to leave. You know, it was too hectic, too crowded, and they basically had this policy that if you weren't from New York, you needed to go because there's just too many people. But my father was one of the few people that was out of state that was actually allowed to stay because of his credentials and because of his ability to help console and counsel on the spot with mostly family members that came down to find you know, loved ones, and only to find out that their names were on a list of deceased, or even worse, their bodies weren't found, they weren't identifiable. So there's a lot of people that, you know, in that moment needed help, and my father was one of the people who was invited to come back, and he went down there weekend after weekend to help out with these massive lines and groups of people who had set up shop to deal with this tragedy. Now, that's pretty fucking intense, and I can tell you without a doubt that my father is amazing, and he's my hero. And I don't really talk about my dad that much because, you know, this is a Juggalo channel, but I wanted to share this story with you guys because, you know, this is real life. This is something that we've all gone through. That is, if you were alive during 9/11, even if you were just a little kid, and your memories aren't as sharp as mine are, because that was a time in my life when I was on my game. You know, I spent a lot of time fucking around in college, you know, drinking a lot. But in 2001, I was just less than a year away from graduating college, and I had built up a lot of momentum, and I was definitely doing well as a student. I was knocking out classes one by one, getting good grades, performing internships, and 9/11 just kind of like sideswiped me and really, you know, changed my life, as it did a lot of people. So I'm at my destination. I'm going to wrap this story up and say that, you know, I love my father, first of all. I love my country. and I definitely can understand, you know, where people are coming from when they when they get patriotic, when they get supportive, and you know they want to just rally the troops and and be positive, because in the face of tragedy you got to be strong and you need to keep your spirits high. And this is an anniversary. This is a time to remember those that lost their lives and the families that were affected directly by 9/11. I think about 9/11 not just on the anniversary, but just like a lot of tragedies in the world. Like, it comes up in my mind. I think about it often, and I guess I do have some things that are tangible that are that create that feeling of nostalgia, and that's the photographs that my dad took. And people weren't really allowed to take pictures at Ground Zero, but my dad had a digital camera and he took tons of pictures. And I've got a whole DVD, a whole fucking hard drive where tons and tons and tons of pictures of the rubble and of firemen and police officers helping, and people, just a lot of really intense images. And my father's an amateur photographer. I shouldn't say amateur. My father's been a photographer since I was born. There was actually a darkroom built into my parents' house when I was a kid, and I took photography classes in high school and in college, right before everything went digital, by the way. And I'm not complaining, because those chemicals used to affect my sinuses, and I got bad allergies, and it really wasn't a good fit for me. But it all made sense, like growing up into the digital age and learning how to do digital photography. And now I'm a professional photographer. Now we do architectural photography for realtors, and we use Lightroom and Adobe products, and we've got really nice digital cameras. And I get all this from my father. I guess these are the thoughts that come to my mind during the anniversary of 9/11. I think of my dad and how much he has given, and how much he cares, and I guess deep down inside, like most people, all I want to do is make my folks happy, proud of me. And it's a struggle for me to do that, because I'm a weirdo. I'm into extreme shit. I'm a juggalo. And my folks are old school. They weren't thrilled about tattoos, and I obviously have learned from my own mistakes and have gone through tons of peaks and valleys in my life, but nothing has ever made me feel more proud and more I don't know, just like flat out, like my father makes me feel like I can be better and I can do anything. And it's like, if the apple doesn't fall far from the tree, then it's a goddamn given that I'm gonna make a positive impact on the world somehow, some way, no matter fucking what. Even if I am into this fucking crazy juggalo subculture, that doesn't exclude me from being able to fulfill my destiny and make a positive impact on this world. So if I seem like I'm a stick in the mud when it comes to the reality of the downfall of psychopathics, because I don't buy into that horse shit. You know what I'm saying? I live my life the way I want to, and I enjoy the shit that I enjoy. It's not just ICP, but there is no other subculture out there that is as thriving as the juggalo subculture. And I've been a part of that juggalo subculture for half my life, so I don't feel like I'm overstepping my boundaries, speaking my mind, sharing my thoughts, my memories. And I have a lot of thoughts and memories that go well beyond the realm of juggalo. And it's like this. As a vlogger, it's interesting to talk about this stuff, and I'm sure that some of you guys out there are interested in this story, even though at the core it has nothing to do with ICP. I can tell you that when the 6 Jokers card dropped in 2002, okay, when the Wraith dropped, the cognitive release, or whatever, the feel-good carnival feeling, the magic was so impactful because of the tragedy and just the struggle of life. ICP's music means the world to me because of how powerful it is, and I find it incredibly disrespectful when people who know damn well what that power and magic is have the gall to say that it's gone, it's vanished. It's, you know, that's on you, okay? Because ICP, they don't have to live up to anyone's expectations. They're the ones that create their music. They're the ones that write their music, and they shouldn't have to, cater to the whims of any one individual and their opinion of what ICP should or shouldn't do. The fact that ICP does what they do is it's amazing, and they're very, very unappreciated. They're very underlooked, underrated, and a lot of juggalos that have lost their faith, not necessarily in the concept of the Dark Carnival and the messages, but for some reason the ICP was so awesome back in the day that they just can't possibly live up to that, and for that reason, like, everything they do is a fail for some reason. So I don't agree with that. I think we're all within our right to age gracefully and to lose a little bit of our thunder. And so if the music isn't as hard-hitting or as impactful as it used to be, that quite very well be. But at the same time, you can't erase the legacy, and you can't ignore the fact that ICP still has what it takes to create magic. And if you can't feel that magic, then you got to look inside yourself for that, because it's there, and there are thousands of people who can testify to that. Real ass motherfucking people, you know, people with feelings, people that hurt, people that make mistakes, people that are fuck ups, people that are really smart, but no one's got their ears pointed their way. That's how I feel, and I just want to give respect to anybody out there who is right, just thinking about today, the meaning behind the memorials and the whole reason why. I mean, that's the thing, like, I don't agree with a lot of things in this country, and I used to never even pay attention, but the more I pay attention, the more angry I get, and I guess that's kind of something I've heard before. If you're not angry, you're not paying attention. Maybe that's the case. I wasn't, and now I am, and I don't necessarily feel the need to be to rant on my political beliefs and whatnot, but, you know, there's no harm in getting on YouTube and sharing your feelings and sharing with your viewers. You know, you guys are the shit. You guys listen to what we say. You guys comment and share us, and, you know, I wanna express my thanks to you guys and pledge to you that, you know, we're not fucking around. We have serious heart here on this channel, and I believe that I'm here for a reason, and it may be fucked up, but I'm never going to stop pursuing my dreams, and I'm never going to stop sharing my opinion with you guys. I mean, I will be down with the clown till I'm dead in the ground, okay? I said it a long time ago. It was just a catchy hook from a song that I dug from an album that I loved from a band that you can't deny. ICP is the shit, and so that's my way to make this relevant for Carnival Spirits. But at the end of the day, this is actually about our country and us as human beings. So leave your comments, leave some love, leave some hate, make a video response if you want. I don't give a shit. I'm BstMstR. See ya.